Good evening, folks. It's Sharita with Blank Space Designs, and we are just a few hours away from our official 5-year business anniversary. Yay! I am a little bit under the weather in more ways than one. I have been physically sick for the last couple of weeks. The world is on a perpetual dumpster fire day after day after day. You don't think that the dumpster can be any more on fire, and yet folks prove that there's more fire available. So, between not physically feeling good, mentally feeling down, and the emotional roller coaster that is the ghetto earth at the moment, the last few weeks have not been going very well for me. So, I have spent very little time in this studio space that I spent all this time redecorating over the last couple of months. I had big plans for my 5-year business anniversary. None of them came to fruition. I really tried a couple of weeks ago to put the pedal to the metal to get all these things done before April 27th. And about 10 days ago, I decided it just wasn't going to happen. My mind wasn't in the right space, my body wasn't in the right space, and it just didn't feel like the right time to do some big grand celebration for my 5 years of being in business. Now that we are about 3 hours away from that anniversary, I regret not pushing ahead and doing the things that I had planned, but here we are. I'm pretty much out of time now, and I am not going to let that regret sit with me long because it's not productive. It's not productive, and I just don't want to. I'm tired. I'm tired of feeling. I'm tired of feeling down in all these ways, and I need to we need to turn this around. It's time to turn this around. And one thing that I remembered earlier today as I was laying across my bed doing my quintessential woe is me, sad girl whining, I remembered, as I always do when I get into these slumps, that the way forward and the way to feel better for me is to get back into the things that I like and I love. And it seems so simplistic. And of course, your mind and body is telling you that you don't want to do any of those things, but it absolutely makes, for me, my mind and body feel better to get back into those things. So it is 9:30 on Saturday, April 26th, and I have forced myself to get back into my studio, a place that I love, and do a couple of things that I love to do, even though my mind and body is telling me that I would rather be reading in the tub, eating cotton candy, because that's definitely a thing that I almost did instead of bringing out this camera. I had no idea what I was going to do when I got in here. I tied it up a little bit. I unboxed my new loungy chair that has been sitting in the corner for the last 2 weeks. I'll link it below. It is pretty comfortable. It's much more, it doesn't pick it up on camera, but there is a much more of a beige tone in person. So if you're thinking that this is a white or some sort of off white, it's not. It's absolutely more of a beigey color, almost leaning into yellow, but I do like it. I will say that the reviews for this was correct. And if you are any taller than probably like 5'7", 5'8", some of this framing is going to hit you at a spot that's probably uncomfortable. But for me, with all of my 5'4.5" tallness, it's perfectly fine and it's actually very comfortable and soft. So, link is below if this is something you want to get into. But I know that I've talked to y'all before in the past about how I wanted some sort of loungy chair in here that worked for the space, and the chair and the stool folds up. So I'm definitely able to put it off in a corner somewhere when it's not in use. Anyway, now that we're done with chair talk, so came into the studio, cleaned up a little bit because, of course, it had gotten, let me put that down. Of course, it had gotten completely out of control. Cleaned up a little bit, unboxed my lounge chair, which already I know I'm going to spend way too much time in here, and just started thinking a little bit about what the last 5 years have just. I just started thinking about the last 5 years of blank space designs. Like many of you, you started your businesses during COVID, or your business ramped up during COVID because some of us had a lot more time on our hands sitting at home. I know that quite a few handmade businesses started during the pandemic, and that makes perfect sense. In my particular case, I was already doing a little bit of custom and personalized work under a completely different name, probably since about 2016, just one offs for family and friends and family of my family and friends under a completely different business name. But during 2020, I absolutely decided to dive in and take this much more seriously. And I do believe it's one of the better decisions that I have made in a very long time. So, for those of you who watched my 2024 recap, you'll probably remember that blank space did not become self sustaining until last year. So that means 4 years of my business absolutely operated in the red. Absolutely. And there were plenty of times where I wanted to call it quits, pull the plug, completely just say, I tried, and move on about my day. However, I really do like running this small handmade business. I have had quite a few different pivots as far as what I offer, and I think pivot after pivot, change after change brought me closer and closer to what I have today and the catalog that I really, really, really like as of today. I think I have really niched into a snarky, sarcastic, kind of fun loving and laugh inducing catalog that 5 years ago I really wasn't doing. I do think that at the start of the business, I was taking a lot of what I was doing a little bit too seriously. And I just don't think that's what I wanted, that eventually I wanted blank space to be. I want it to be a silly time. I want it to be sarcastic. I want it to be snarky. I want it to be profanity laden. I want it to be me. And I'm a girl that likes to drop a couple of profane words. I am a girl that likes to laugh. I like sarcasm. I like dark humor. I wanted I wanted blank space to cover all of my caffeine fueled, snarky girlies who are just trying to navigate through this ridiculous thing that we call life. That's what I wanted. And I do believe that that is where I have finally landed. And there's quite a few things that I have planned that'll get me even closer to the kind of things that I want to offer for all of my like minded folks. 2024 was great. It really was. It was a good year for blank space designs. I had, which if you watch my previous video, if you watch one of my previous videos about my goals for 2025, I had lofty goals for 2025 as well. And we are almost into May of 2025, and most of those things have not happened yet. A lot of it is due to just the state of the world and not being able to push through as heavily as I have been able to do in the past. It is, things are just so sad. And it's been sad for a very long time. Do not get me wrong. There has not been a time in Earth's history where we have not been a sad bunch of people. However, it's just extra sad lately and just extra overwhelming. And having to fight through those feelings has really just put just a grayness over everything that I have been doing so far these last couple of months. And I have been struggling to figure out how to deal with that. And I know it's not going to work for everybody, but I know personally for me, thinking about it over the last couple of days, a lot of it is just pushing through. I mean, there's so much that we're able to control individually. And then there's so many things that are damn near out of our control or just seem so overwhelmingly out of our control that if I was to just completely let myself get bogged down with the state of all things, I would never move. There would never be any progression. I would never be productive in anything. And that's just not how I want my 2025 to be. So the last couple of weeks really got me down. But I think I am ready to get back into my studio, get back into this creative space, and get back to talking to y'all, putting new products out, laughing and giggling, and doing all the things that I had planned for this year. I do not want to bring this depressive energy to the internet. There's so much already out there that can depress you on in any given moment, and I didn't want this space to be that. So I'm not going to do that. We're not going to do that. If I'm not feeling it, I'm not doing it. I'm pretty sure I told y'all that before. That a lot of this online stuff that I was going to do was going to be absolutely based on vibes. And if the vibes aren't there, I'm not going to be there. So now that I'm slowly starting to get my mojo back up, we're back. We're going to be back online. You and I are going to giggle together. You and I are going to get back into the trial and error of putting some products out. Um, I am going to get back into some of this product creation that I had planned for this 5 year anniversary. But instead of a 5 year anniversary collection, we're now going to push it back and call it our Blank Space Design Summer Collection. Lots of new things that I want to get done. Lots of new things that I want to show y'all, and that's what we're going to get into. That is 100% what we're going to get into because it's what makes me happy. And in current times, I need to find the joy wherever it is. And I encourage y'all to do the same. If working in your studio, laughing and giggling with all the other small business folks while you make your notepads and your stickers and all of your silly little stationery brings you joy, I suggest y'all lean completely into that because why not? You know what I mean? Such Such common sense advice. Find the joy. I get it, guys. It's all so ridiculous and all just so also trite. But that's where we are. We're finding the joy. That's what we're that's what we're all about over here. So for 2025 and going forward for however long this period of time lasts, we are finding the joy, both professionally, personally, in the business, everything like that. One way that we are going back to finding the joy is getting this together. I feel like I have dressed and looked like a potato for a while now. Um, my hair is hanging on for the dear life. It needs to be done badly in some form or fashion. So before I walked in here, I made myself a hair appointment for in a couple of days. So I can't feel terrible when I look great. So we're getting back to looking good. I ordered a few things online that's on its way so I can start some of my summer sundress collection. I always feel great in a pretty sundress with my hair done. So we're leaning into that, finding the joy aesthetically. Unbox this chair so I can find the joy and comfort while I'm sitting in this space that I love. I'm going to get back to creating and providing silly products. I have a pop up that I have scheduled in 2 weeks, and I'm really excited about it because I really do have fun with people in real life at these pop ups, and it's always a great time. I always have a very good time setting up my tent, laughing with all the people that come by with all the silly little products that I provide. I'm going to lean even more into how my pop up looks. So I've put aside a little budget for myself to really lean into the aesthetic boost that I want. We're gonna go all in within budget. We're gonna go all in within budget to have my pop ups look the way that I want them to. The last 5 years have been a fun time with Blank Space Designs, and I want it to continue being a fun and joyful time. Running a business is not all rainbows and baby ducks. Of course, it's not. We all know that. I do know that there are, and I have experienced times where this business has drug me. And it has been very overwhelming, very tiring, very frustrating, and plenty of times where I have essentially closed the doors on it and ignored it because it just did not seem like it was the right season in my life to continue on with this business. I am so glad that I always came back to it. And coming back to it over and over and over again, especially during those first 2 years, really did prove to me that this is something that I wanted to do. So even though the last couple of months have really not emotionally and physically been great for me. So I haven't been able to come with all the razzle and dazzle for this 5 year anniversary. I am very, very grateful to have seen 5 years in this business with Blank Space Designs. I don't think that I would have imagined how far that I could get in 5 years, to be quite honest, even still being a very small micro business. I I'm an accountant. I'm an accountant, financial analyst by trade. I know how long it can take businesses with much more capital than me to actually start to turn a profit. And to be able to do that in 4 years as a one woman business, I am a one woman show in all ways. I make everything, I create all of the things, I run the pop ups almost by myself exclusively on several occasions. As a one woman show, being able to turn a profit in this small business damn near by myself within 4 years is a success. That is a remarkable thing that I believe that I have been able to do. And I'm very proud of myself for that. I'm very, very proud of myself for that. And I need to remember that on the harder days, on the slower days, on the darker days, I do need to make sure that I remember that blank space is a joyful, bright, beautiful spot in my life. And I will always be able to come into the studio space, hopefully leave all that other nonsense at the door and just laugh and giggle and create and just live in this light and bright space that I have created called Blank Space Designs. Yeah, yeah, that's what we're doing. This is a light and bright and easy space that I've created. And I'm very, very, very happy about that. My face might not say that at the moment, but I promise y'all, blank space, pretty big deal for me. and very happy that we have gotten to 5 years in this way. So this was a rambly, yippy yappy video that probably was more for me than it was for y'all. I just needed to have a little bit of a mental reset, getting back into the right mind frame, into the right frame of mind. Yikes! I feel like I said that all the way wrong. Just a little yippy yappy kind of quick thing to get back in the right frame of mind to really go after the blank space goals and dreams that I have planned. Because for a moment there, things got bleak. But we're going to get back on the other side of it. We're going to get back on the other side of it. And the other side of it for me is joy. So as always, guys, thanks for rocking with me. Happy 5 years to Blank Space Designs, and here's to another year full of joy, hope, and a lot more success. See you around the internet somewhere.